we don't. What's going on, bafowethu ngihamba kanjani? We are back.
Yes, we are.
It's the catch up DBN. Andila ngisakwazi, angisakwazi.
Even engazwena.
Where have you been?
I've been around.
Where you mad? Talking about being around. Buke kwi-COTTONFEST. Ngicela sikhulume indaba yakho.
COTTONFEST was so shocking. I felt so much FOMO.
Yeah.
I was just one of those people who were just so up and like. I wasn't too sure whether I wanted to go, whether I didn't want to go, but last minute I just saw the vibe. Didn't get
Yo, sahamba bekuyimina uSitheu aka safika lapha we andile pethu ugcwele mfi kodwa ugcwele ama 2K. That was the
what
only
were you
thing.
expecting?
Okay, not even 2K. I was shocked at how many young people were there.
Yeah.
But my activation bemnandi, there were so many food stations, kudayisa stage bezu2. We chilled out on the smaller stage. Sound beautiful.
That's good.
The weather was nice. Ayibo mostly futhi lokho shake into yakhe. No, it was super dope.
Oh,
It was super dope. I think Durban needed it. Bekumnandi. Once again, shout out to Ricky, shout out to everyone behind it. Performances over the night. Yo, angazi ngisho ukuthi ngiqale kephi.
Yeah.
Blackie fire, Aries fire. Yo, Gold Max. Yes. Dladla Tugzin.
Oh my God.
Durban's finest, Tira Socks, Sibonke. It was incredible. It was really nice.
Yeah, ngibonile. Did it exceed your expectations? Did it do what you were imagining it to do for Durban?
I think so, because it just showed there is a culture later when.
Okay.
But then it wasn't really as hip hop heavy as the one in Ekoli. So it was more dance on a scope.
Okay,
the piano the whole night, but it was extremely dope. I met a lot of new acts. Some we had saw at Bat Center for Breezy's thing.
Okay.
So it was really nice, exciting acts. Shout out to Tony the Great. Shout out to Peg. Shout out to everybody that utilizes platform. Like a lot of upcoming talent.
Talking about COTTONFEST. I don't know if you remember, there was a bit of an uproar with El Vovo.
DERRANGO.
There was a bit of an uproar. People were making fun of him. Why is he one of the acts? There was a lot of things there, back and forth, to a point where he ended up announcing that he will no longer be performing at COTTONFEST, right?
I remember that.
Which I think is very unfortunate. It's very unfortunate. I wish that didn't happen, because he was one of the acts that I wanted to see on stage prove himself to the next generation. You get what I'm saying? But he wasn't afforded that chance. And especially him going through what he went through. I mean, last year he had a stroke in December, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, there was even rumors that he had passed on.
I remember that.
Yeah, so it was a bit intense, him going to perform alongside the late MAMPINTSHA.
Yes.
Yeah, so he ended up having to go through that. Next minute he has to go through ending a COTTONFEST. I mean, he was still recovering from that, and he needed that. I feel like it would have worked wonders rather for his mental health. But then, the internet, basically.
Yeah, sure, guys. Like, I was one of the people, because you can't be so hip-hop where you actually end up neglecting abanye abantu. Hip-hop is all about embracing abantu abahlukile to create a new flavor. I say that because ngoba umentionisha uMampintsha, rest in peace. I know ingoma nje yaduma kakhulu for my generation was there with Ricky, The whole time.
I remember that one.
Zulu Girl.
Yes.
Zulu Girl had Danger on the third verse, and he's not like hip hop, so to speak. So like, angithandi mina lento when we wanna act in hip hop, like, you too old, or you too quiet, or you too this. Ngoba it's like ekugcineni sokuyi hip hop. So nami angithandanga. I don't like the way the younger generation treats our legends. And ngaphatheka kabi ukuthi okay, obviously he's not gonna go up there and mokushaya mosh pit noma ashaya umdanso wa black. He's gonna go up there and beat DERRANGO.
Yes.
So it was disappointing ukubona abantu ukuthi abamukelanga ngaleyo ndlela. but I'm a huge supporter of him.
Yeah.
Him, Upa, Ubalomunyu Juicy, they make the fabric of Durban culture. And the performance was one of the highlights for me. Tera, Usoksi, just seeing them all on stage coordinated, it was just like a exhibition on a world-class level of how you perform. Abantu bajabulisa kanjani. So we should never ever like diss them or be like, oh funani. Wow, they're in the music industry for a reason.
Exactly. I mean, it got to a point where there's been rumors circulating that he has quit the music industry.
Is that true though?
There's not a lot of specifics going into exactly why, but a lot of publications have kept it a bit hush-hush, but they just announced, so would say he's no longer taking part in the music industry. I mean, can't confirm that, can't necessarily deny that, but you know, going through his journey in the past few months, I would understand why he needed a break. You know, just to fix his own situation. I mean, a lot has been happening to our artists. For instance, I mean, Babes Otomo. There's also been rumors that she's critically ill.
How?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's why we haven't been seeing her on social media. It's been very privatized, her condition.
I hope with those rumors aren't true.
Yeah.
With amandla, with a lot of love, positivity. Even if she needs to take a step back and recreate herself, it's very important, because you can't expect these entertainers and musicians but operate on 100. You know what I mean? Or how they were introduced to you. I hope she becomes better if she's not well, and I hope she picks up with her career and keep moving forward. But if she needs to take a break, and she will come back and be who she is and does what she does best. And she recently announced on her Instagram that her husband's album is complete. Oh wow.
And that they will be dropping it very soon.
Oh wow.
We got a bit of a snippet of a song. It's a collab between her and MAMPINTSHA with a song called Ngithethelele. So it's a gospel vibe.
Okay.
Them being thankful, being grateful, a bit of an apology there for some of the things that maybe some of the mistakes that they've made in their lives, so I'm guessing it's a bit of a it reminded me a bit of like the Jub Jub song Kokele, where he also apologizes through Leongo Maleo, and also like allows people to understand when he puts her, and then he's still a man of faith. And I think that's a beautiful message, especially for Babes Otomo fans, who would say, you know what, as much as we can be going through things, many mistakes that we make throughout our journey as abantu abakhulayo, let's just open up inhliziyo zethu to forgive.
Yes.
Forgive. Open up inhliziyo zakho to forgive. I mean, that actually goes well into something that became very controversial this week.
What?
Lady ZAMAR once again versus SJAVA fans.
Hey, no bantu. Hey, no Lady ZAMAR. Okay, Imag, let's before we go into that, what happened with the case? Because I'm part of the minority abangazi ukuthi ngiyakhumbula ama-accuse SJAVA kwaba ne-Leo Apro SJAVA nje isithunzi bamehlisa impela. I know there was like a lot of hate or whatever, but what happened, like factually speaking?
So factually speaking,
a case
was opened, they went to court, and the decision was made, and SJAVA.
What decision?
The fact that my accusations were false.
Lady ZAMAR accused SJAVA falsely.
Yes.
Okay. So manje sethi
so manje, that's what made a lot of people, angry at her. That's why she's receiving the hate that she does, because they feel like they haven't received the apology that they needed as fans, as well as SJAVA didn't receive the apology that he needed, especially with so many things that he has lost because of those allegations. And they then brought up a lot of things, you know, what those type of allegations might do or do to the people being accused. I mean, like that young man who ended up ending his life when he was accused of the student when he was accused, and then
but Andy, so Lady ZAMAR is now, I read the stuff. She seemed like she doesn't know what to do in terms of with impilo yakhe, right? Yes. But if the case was dismissed, why is she confused and she was in the wrong? Because she feels like she doesn't agree with the dismissal. I know, but that's why she doesn't agree with the dismissal. She thinks that. Are you sure they didn't just like put it under the carpet? Like, let's just dismiss. He went through it because people need proof. Did he win the case? Yes, he did. He did. He did. That's why he ended up being accepted once again in the music industry. It's because he ended up winning the case. So why Lady ZAMAR or whatever sorts of punishment? That's why I said in the beginning, I don't necessarily want us to focus on the back and forth of Lady ZAMAR and SJAVA. I want to focus on the fact that people must realize that justice doesn't look the way that you think it might look, right? You might not receive the apology that you want. You might not receive whatever you feel like is due to you, right? So you will still be traumatized and continuously traumatized because it's an individual thing that happened to you, and you need to heal as an individual and you go through that journey. That justice system cannot or will never heal you. Fans cannot and will never heal you. Family members can only do so much. So you might not receive the apology that you need. You might not feel the way that you thought you would feel once a case is dismissed or once you receive justice. It never ends up being the way that one would intend. You know, maning variables that we can't even quantify, like, you know, it's the economics and the geopolitical landscape that we live in. There's so many factors that go into all these individual cases where it's hard to actually determine, okay, we all know what happened over here, we all know who's guilty. It's like too many factors. And I think we've also, I said this last episode, Skuluma no touch, we as South Africans have normalized izinto that aren't normal. And I'm not saying it's a good or a bad thing, but I do think having conversations about it is a starting point where, as you're saying, it's not being focused on who's right or wrong, but the concept of justice itself is never what it seems like. That's it. And do we have justice? I think that's the bigger question. You know, there's nothing much that we can do. And I think the thing that we need to focus on a lot is the fact that as soon as a traumatic event happens to you, you need to find a way to heal. Find something that will heal you. Find something that will help you, you know, get through whatever you need to get through. I mean, Tolasmo.
I saw it.
What did you think, bro?
I felt like there's some sort of thing unfair. It's unfair to the males because now there's not always going to be proof, and now you're going to be labeled as an abuser just because the justice system, it seems like it favors abantu besimame more because they can't always protect themselves. So injustice is there for abantu besimame, even if there's no evidence. I really did do that thing. So I understand why he's in that space.
Hey, bro, he's traumatized. He's traumatized, and I think he even went as far as saying, I hate black women. And it's like, but it's like, I feel his pain. Imagine being falsely accused. We won't go into specifics, but you know, like, because it's like, not only did it hurt me emotionally and my reputation, it affected how I worked, it affected how I provide for my family, it affected everything about me as umuntu. So it goes back to what we're saying, hey, what is justice and who's it for? because at the same time it can't be in favor of either or. But then it also is there for a valid reason. As Uluthando pointed out, Uguti, most times females are in situations where, you know, they don't have that power in the dynamic. So, you know, like it evens it out, but then when is it being used for the negative? Falsely accusing someone just based on the fact that you know that they will act on it. So it's very sensitive, and it's very... What do you think?
I mean, it broke his family. Apparently, he's now going through a process of divorce with his wife. That's how much it affected his family. His son had to, if I'm not mistaken, had to be homeschooled. You know, they needed to move into the countryside, Emakaya, to escape the back and forth within the industries that they're in. You know.
I'm just also thinking, Uguti, there's also this common occurrence of like entertainers or people in the industry being pushed to a level where they're checking themselves to eat better, overdosing on these drugs. So whatever is happening, and it just shows, Uguti, we are all people. Just speaking to the toxicity of the culture of the internet and how we are with Ladies ZAMAR, with SJAVA, with Tolesmo, with all these people. You often forget that, you know, like the joy these people brought into your lives, or the entertainment, or the creativity, or the art. And, you know, like people end up pushing good people with good hearts to places where it's like, you know, because if you're in their position, would you be able to tolerate what they go through? Clouds is crazy. Yeah, no, like how much of those situations are people self-inflicted pain? Like, do you guys think it is? Like, in the sense, Uguti, how much responsibility goes back to the individual? Just like quickly, because I mean, blame the justice system and, you know, the wrongdoings and other people. But then, Nati, when do we heal ourselves or take accountability for the situations we put ourselves in?
Yeah, no, that's a very interesting question. I mean, as human beings, we all tend to look outside. I mean, I think that's why we're in the positions that we are in, you know, constantly wanting to be validated, constantly wanting someone else to understand, to feel, you know, we're always reaching out and not reaching inwards, right? So I think that's something that we just need to work on. We need to work on the things, we need to work on shutting down and understanding who you are, and understanding that let's understand how to move better. Let's just think about that. Be wiser. There are a lot of things out there on the internet. You know, be aware of your surroundings and all that stuff. You know, the times, everything when you go out. You know, there's a lot of things that are out there. We always hear about these things. They are there. They are there. And do not ever think that something will never happen to you.
Yeah,
never think you're too good for whatever situation.
And the thing is, also only starting, you know, especially when you're in, to the point, it's so deep. You actually, just based on your own behaviors, like your phone will give you a reflection of who you are. So like if you attract the things that you think of. So if you're thinking about books and, I don't know, traveling, you'll probably be that kind of person and attract those kind of people.
That's right.
But everything that we're saying is not, you know, written in stone. This is how it goes. But there is a part of accountability in taking this journey of healing very serious. I mean, I can honestly say I've had friends for years, but then you end up realizing, hey, no, this person isn't good for me. Not that they're bad people, or but influence doesn't bring out what I want for me. So I need to be selfish and, you know, like take control of the thoughts and the influences that allow to dictate my direction in life.
So on a bit of a lighter note, I wanted to ask you, have you watched Shaka Ilembe? Or Ilembe Shaka?
Yes,
Shaka
I haven't watched it, but I've been seeing the hype. I've been watching the BTS.
Yeah.
Like it. Yeah. What are your thoughts? Injani.
Okay,
It looks amazing.
So basically, for those who don't know, Shaka Ilembe, right? Shaka Ilembe is a new drama series that was introduced at the beginning of the month.
Yeah, it was this month, July.
Yes, introduced at the beginning of the month. It goes through the story of King Shaka Zulu, right? And bit modernized there and there, but it's made in order for this generation to be able to consume the history of who Shaka was, who this and that is, with our favorite actors. So it's a 12 episode, and the very first episode premiere got our views, our 3.5 million, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
So everyone is very excited about that. So what an amazing thing for the television industry, you know, because a lot of people are like, TV is dying out, here streaming. So that was a great way for us to just introduce the love of television and watching TV together as a family. I mean, we watched it as a family. we watched it we watched it as a family. So I thought that was a great thing that happened. Enjoyed the first episode.
Yeah, how does it look?
It looks very nice. It looks clean. It looks absolutely amazing. I mean, I loved them introducing some faces that I did not recognize. You know, some people that I see on Instagram, I'm like, okay, no, well done. I'll be able to see short left. I mean, some of the hairstyles were just a bit much for me, and I thought it was quite dramatic. I understand them trying to, you know, adapt to a generation yamanje with, you know, the creativity aspect of it, but they became too creative.
Sabantu aba creative, yo. No stylist,
not to that extent, though.
Imagine when you say, well, let's break it down.
Okay.
How were they too flamboyant? Because in there's, as Africans, geometry, say shy.
Okay.
So what are you talking about, baby? Like, what do you mean?
No, you could see some of them obviously were weaves. They were put on. Not weaves, but like fake, synthetic hair. Afro synthetic.
We are ones.
You know, you can see it was synthetic. If I get with it. How is anyone who looks like bad or gender by my hairstyle? Just copy value on my hairstyle, you know. And also for me, to be honest, it became quite distracting. When you run and then you know, became a bit distracting. I think they did too much at some points with the costuming, and it just took away from what was being said. And I didn't like that part. Right? And another thing is I think how quick everything happens.
What
you know,
do you mean?
Too much death in the beginning, too much, you know, there were things where I think we could have just prolonged it a bit, try and understand that character a bit more before they passed on. Because now I actually...
Spoiler alert, Angel's giving away everything.
Oh.
In the beginning, thanks. I haven't watched it and you just told me that.
I mean, spoiler.
Yeah, go back.
You know, because now I know that once someone passes on in the beginning, now we have to go through like storyline sack. So we're going to go through it without them, basically. Now they're going to introduce the character who has now passed on in the beginning. You know, can we just understand?
What? Wait, sorry, what?
The thing is,
and then they continue the storyline.
You pass away in the beginning,
yeah.
Right? Especially as a main character. You pass away in the beginning. Now the whole... I
haven't watched it.
Episode 5. You'll be like, it was a dream. You know, I wish we had we could have understood the character better before them passing on in the beginning. Now we're going to understand the character without them being alive, quote unquote, you know.
Nah, I'm gonna need to watch and.
Yeah, you're gonna need to watch and yeah, but it's a great story. I mean, it's a very risky story because it touches on such a character within KwaZulu-Natal. You know, so yes, so it's a very sore spot for a lot of people, especially if it's done wrong. You know. So some people are complaining about the way that it's being done. And some of the things that are being done within that specific series don't like go with what really happened and all that stuff. And the thing is also coming up with something when the first one was so good to a point where
no, I'm gonna push back. The reason I'm pushing back is you can't compare an iconic TV show with what was done at the time. Utaj, our guest last week, said something so profound. He said, as South Africans and just as a band, we sometimes complain about our local products or shows and we don't even consume local content. It's katsisning. I'm saying this to say, Uguti, like, I've just been watching the behind the scenes of Shaka. Shout out to Zeno Peterson, he's the main DOP. Like, and I watched the interview of them talking about it before Ipum. But it's katsisning isn't to have a stand awake and to compare rather than to just enjoy what it is. So I can't agree or disagree, but it's also unfair. Yes, it's classic, it's iconic, but we also need to trust with the right people, we're in the right rooms for those decisions. They did their research. There's been research, and I'm just saying this just off the behind the scenes. And to compare something to what it was is also unfair, because it's always going to go down to a bias of it's not good enough, it's not what it was, or you guys did it wrong. I'm saying with this, we need to reach a part where it's like there's a comfortable spot where it's like this is the reinterpretation or reimagined on how it could be.
True, but that's unfortunate, especially if something is so good, you're always going to compare. Unfortunately, we're always going to compare with everything, from music. If you drop a song now, hit the next song, we would love it to be a hit. I think they were ready for that. So comparison is the thief of joy, in the sense, Ogoti. I've had different like music and albums I've heard from my favorite artists. Compare them. You're right, it's human nature. But then years later, you're like, oh my God, this was amazing in hindsight. So I'm saying let's also leave space in that. Definitely. Because it's still happening. Something like a surprise. You know, like I'm saying, let's leave space for it and enjoy. But they did well in terms of numbers. There's an excitement about it. I like Uguti, even other people are like, well, we want to be Shaka, and like I just think Uguti, it's all positive and good for the production, for the story, for Amangoni. You know what I mean? Like I just think Uguti in the end, and I can't wait to see what like how it unfolds, because every week something's happening. Well, something quite funny. There was a bit of a complaint with the BCCSA.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Broadcast Complaints Commission. Yes.
Someone complained. They were complaining about the nudity.
Okay.
Within Shaka Ilembe.
Yeah,
and there not being the proper age restriction for that specific thing. Because
no, we also.
But I sing Amazulu, in our culture, you go around with the baby.
True, but I understand. There's not just Zulus only. But there's not just
without thinking about us.
No, I understand. No, I understand that, but we need to understand that we live in like a bit of a rainbow nation. So there are going to be complaints about that. We need to consider, if there's something like that's going to happen, do just put an age restriction.
Oh, was there no age restriction?
Yeah. Yes. Not all, but there wasn't an age restriction.
No, we're talking about the BCC. Like, let's have facts. Is there no age restriction? Age
restriction. Eight, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but those type of TV shows usually have age restrictions from how I remember TV operates. It's not like,
I didn't see an age restriction.
It's not like family friendly. Like,
but either way, maybe it wasn't 18. That I know.
Were they complaining for the age or because of the nudity? Like,
no, they were complaining because when certain body parts are shown, it needs to be rated a certain thing, and it wasn't rated that certain thing.
No, I just think you're pervert.
Well, there was a lot on Twitter.
You know what I'm saying?
There was a
Like,
lot.
I couldn't make guys.
This and that. And then they started being like body shaming with the other ladies. And it became a bit, come on. There was a lot of body shaming there to how low Naganjana this.
Okay.
And then, I
toxic, man.
I hate it when things. I mean, what do you expect from social media? That's it.
I expect something different. Speaking of different social media, njalo mesikhuluma nge-toxicity mangicabanga ngithi threads. Ningenile threads?
No, I didn't. I heard about it, and I heard
it's the competitor for
Twitter.
It's the competitor, meaning ukuthi Mark Zuckerberg founded it, but the UI or the interface or the app is identical to Twitter.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, there's like some theories ukuthi no, Elon has censoration. This is the retaliation. They're trying to get back market share of attention. What do you guys think of threads?
I mean,
do you have an account?
No, I don't have an account, but I heard about it. I mean, a lot of South African celebs are like, "Oh, catch me here! Now I'm here." That's how it was introduced. I was like, "What is Threads?" And then I did a bit of research about it, and I was okay. It's because of what's happening currently on Twitter, and the having to purchase, a certain amount for having a certain amount of tweets or seeing a certain or viewing or having a certain amount of views.
It's purchasing the verification badge. One.
Yes.
It's like a subscription model that they've introduced.
Yes.
And then they're also limiting the amount of tweets. I think they were doing that to limit the amount of fake followers on there and activity in my bots. There's a danger.
Yeah, but they were saying the more you want to watch, now you have to pay for it.
Yeah.
Apparently. So I think they found the market. That's how business runs. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, I think they had 50 million users in one day or something.
I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's the most downloaded app.
You find a need, you find a want, and then you create whatever platform that you need to create. So I thought that was an amazing thing that they did. Not arguing, but I'm just saying, I just take her hard work, the way that she works hard with whatever she does.
And it's the beauty and the youth. Like, she's doing it so young, right? It's definitely all those years she's put in.
I mean, some people, it comes earlier than others.
Does she produce her stuff?
No, she doesn't. She doesn't produce her things.
And music. Producer.
She doesn't produce. A lot of artists don't produce their own music.
Some do.
Yeah.
But a lot don't. A lot that we see, a lot of artists don't produce. They have producers, obviously. They have people writing for them to a point where they have people do the whole song and then they just come and just play, and just showcase the song, So it's a new thing now. It's do all the work. Mina ngizofika sengithi jive ngifaka like amehlo engomeni yakho. Phele kanjalo.
Yeah,
it's a new strategy.
Earlier on you mentioned Kamompela, Babes, and some of the other females who were dominant in the industry over the last few years. Boteni?
I can't with you. But I was just saying that, obviously I'm not going to say some of the things that I said. But I mean, they did,
Okay, here's a better
definitely
question.
Create a platform for more ladies like or Uncle Waffles to really take on the music industry in a different way that women have never took it on. I mean, Bongo Muffin was there. I mean, not Bongo Muffin. What's this called? Boom Shaka, sorry. Boom Shaka did also have a bit of a, did also start a bit of a thing for about that time that it was very unusual, but now a lot of people have taken what Bongo Muffin, I think it's Bongo Muffin,
Boom Shaka.
what Boom Shaka did, and now it's making them so much money. What's happening with a lot of artists now? So I mean, it didn't necessarily start with them, started back then, but now they took it to a different level, adding Babes with the gqom, Kabompela with the piano.
Yeah, there's a whole lot.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of them doing absolutely amazing.
One thing that I did find positive in that clip was she sampled Ipikoko. It's a track, if I'm not mistaken, by Chico Twala in the 80s. Correct me, Lutando. I'm not sure about Peacock. So she sampled that. So I absolutely love Uguti. She is bringing that aspect of sampling great South African music, or music that maybe helped shape her heritage, as Kanyangayo in sonically. So I do think Uguti, you're not too far off in saying Uguti, she's doing it her way. Obviously, I've got my thoughts on maybe the presentation. As enticing as it is and visually appealing, I'm a big fan of the music and what people are doing musically, and I think she's doing great. Piano is the biggest sound export from our country. So Jay-Z driving around to it, mentioned Wiz Khalifa, Sway Lee mixed up because he heard it through a Nigerian artist. But there's huge interest in the piano right now. So I think she's flying the flag high, even if it's by proxy, and that's a positive thing for the whole country. And, you know, we're watching Major League right now. So I think it's in a great place. And it's just nice to be. Honestly speaking, I just think right now, South African music, from my perspective, is in a great place. Guys are dropping the hits, making the bangers. We've been through a lot, but it seems ukuthi yonke into isahamba kahle. While we added, big shout out to the guys in Pretoria who are dropping hit after hit. Just really great space and time to be in as lovers of music.
Yeah, definitely. I think, you know, it's time for us to wrap up. But this was a great conversation. I like the flow. There's a lot of trending topics that happened. So we'll also definitely keep you posted on some of these. We need to do this more often.
Yeah, but
that's true. So we're about to wrap up the season. I mean, look out for season 3. Definitely going to be bigger and better. So that's an exciting one. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, let us know some of the acts that you would like us to approach. Now, if you're an actor or you wanna showcase some of the things that you have going on, do let us know on our various platforms. We do respond, and yeah.
What an episode 30, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. As Andile said, comment, like, subscribe, and asbang get it.